What's going on, everybody, and welcome to GNR Central. We got some breaking news. Now, this broke a couple days ago, but I want to thank Gareth for sending me this. I think we're one of the few places to report this. I saw it in the MyGNR forums as well. And this is complete rumor, so don't take this as being 100% gospel. So Guns N' Roses, it's rumored, will be headlining the Louder Than Life Festival. So how do I know this, or how did this rumor come about? There was a post on the Louder Than Life Festival that apparently got screenshotted by somebody, and it shows Guns N' Roses logo on the actual screenshot. Now, it takes place in Kentucky at the Highland Festival grounds on September 27th through the 29th. It's not known which date that Guns N' Roses would headline the festival, maybe the last night, but it seems to make sense in terms of where the dates are with everybody else's tours that are going on. Slash is going to be off the road in early August, and Duff is going to be done his tour with his solo record Tenderness probably. So it makes sense that maybe Guns N' Roses will play some dates this fall, and it could be something that'll lead the band into maybe going back into the studio. So we'll have to wait and see, but this is a rumor that came up. I wouldn't be surprised if it came out as being true. It also looks like Slipknot and Disturbed are heavily rumored as well to play the festival. Now, last year the festival was canceled because of poor weather. But as we get more information on this rumor, guys, we will keep you guys updated, and you can always check gnrcentral.com for the latest news. Now, Brain, who used to play in Guns N' Roses, gave an interview recently on Appetite for Distortion, Brando's podcast, and he talked about some of the unreleased Guns N' Roses songs that fans have been dying to hear, more specifically the two songs, The General and Seven. And now fans believe a rough recording of The General leaked online about a year ago, and Brain said the following about the songs. He said, "It's funny because how The General came about was that we were supposed to, this was like building up to that show. Everybody was like, hey, if anybody has any songs or stuff you can bring with them." And that song, The General, was a song from, he said something that was inaudible, and I wasn't doing gun stuff, and we would just jam in my living room type of thing. I had a cool Pro Tool set up, we were jamming, we were trying to come up with songs for Guns, and we had the song called, The General, because we were eating General's chicken. Yet when I turned it into Axl, he thought it was just called The General because I was making fun of Tommy Stinson, he thought, and Tommy was kind of the band MD. So when Tommy was when the band was rehearsing, Tommy was sometimes referred to as the General. So Axl took it as kind of like a dig at Tommy. Now, he was the musical director when we would have rehearsals, and Axl thought I was kind of poking fun at Tommy like a general. Like, sort of like, hey, we're rehearsing at this time and that kind of stuff. I was like, no, dude, it's because we ate General's chicken. He also talked a bit about another song, which was Seven. Now, so he said, so the stuff we were putting together was crazy. We were going, okay, what sample should we find for Axl? Well, he's sort of like Julius Caesar, so we were trying to sample stuff that reflected that. We were looking for old school crazy stuff, and I think we sampled Ben-Hur, chopped it up, cut it up, and that became a jam. I think it was called Seven. So if you guys want to listen to the full interview, I've put the link to it down below. Now, turning to some Duff news, his album Tenderness, which comes out May 31st, is up for pre-order. There's a couple different bundles you can get. There's actually 6 in total. So if you just want the CD, it's $13.98 from his website. If you want the vinyl, it's $24.98. And then he's got some other bundles you guys can buy, ranging all the way from $40 all the way to about $104. So one of the bundles is the Tenderness Deluxe LP with a signed lithograph. So the deluxe book is a signed limited edition. There's about 1,000 copies of it worldwide. It includes the album on 180-gram yellow and red Starburst vinyl, the CD, and features exclusive lithographs signed and numbered by Duff. The hardcover book contains 40 pages of photos from the recording sessions and also presents liner notes written by Duff detailing his experiences with each song and the project as a whole. So the vinyl features 10 tracks and a unique sequence carefully selected by Duff and producer Shooter Jennings, while the CD features 11 tracks. So that's one of the bundles. That bundle, the Tenderness Deluxe LP and the signed lithos, retails for about $90. You can just buy the Tenderness litho by itself, which is about $25. And then for $40, you get the Tenderness LP, you get the album t-shirt, and then you also get a lithograph. And then the biggest bundle is the Tenderness Deluxe LP, the album t-shirt, plus the signed lithograph. That one retails for $105 US. So I haven't pre-ordered the album. I'm probably going to be one of those guys who just probably streams it when it comes out, but let me know if you guys are going to buy it. Now, turning to some Duff news, of course, he's got his album Tenderness coming out May 31st. He's been doing a lot of press for it, and he talked to Forbes magazine and talked a bit about his problems with alcohol and some of his mental health struggles. So he talked about how probably his greatest weakness is he said he doesn't like to call that anymore, but he said, that's part of the way I've gotten over it at 16. I started having panic disorder. McKagan told Forbes in a new feature. He said, my first one happened out of nowhere. I was in the shower at my mom's house and the floor just sunk 3 feet and I thought there was an earthquake or something, and it was actually a panic attack. As a condition basically got worse. McKagan said he self-medicated his panic attacks and his anxiety into his 20s with a ton of alcohol, he recalled, noting that it only made things worse because the amount of sugar consumed during drinking made the attacks more frequent. Now, he said through his martial arts and really measuring these things out and kind of tackling them and taking them face on and figuring out a way through them, it was a weakness I've turned into something, into a teachable moment. He said the discipline helped him with things as sometimes things got worse in recent times. I can understand a lot more about mental illness and panic disorders that has sides of depression to it I never experienced until a couple of years ago, he said. I had a depression attack, which was the worst thing you can ever have. But I've dealt with this thing through my martial arts, and I'm fortunate to have it be a very positive force in my life that I can work on these things. So my weakness has actually turned into a strength, and I can help others. And Duff talked about another thing that I'm sure is causing a lot of anxiety in people in depression is social media. And he revealed he's not a big fan of social media. So he was on Steve Jones's radio show, Jonesy's Jukebox, to promote his upcoming solo record, Tenderness, which comes out, as I said before, May 31st. So he talked about social media, and he said the ideas for the songs were originally ideas for things I wanted to write, possibly for a third book, observations I made while traveling. He said not observations of Guns N' Roses, but actual things I was seeing. A very interesting time, and arguably in all of our history, the 2.5 years we were on tour, without comment, really just observing, writing columns for Seattle Weekly for 5 years. I really became an observationalist more than, oh, look at that. I would just stand back and look. And he added, a lot of the times I don't get cable news that you see here in America, and I don't check Twitter when I'm on tour. I might post something like at Soundcheck, and man, I've got to tell you this, life is a lot cooler that way. I'd get back to where the news station was, and they're just screaming and yelling at each other, and it's just like 3 different things, and panels on there and all of this. It makes me feel like there's a divide. And me traveling without that stuff and talking to people and going places, I really realized that there's really not that divide, and that basically there's 2 kinds of different things going on, and that's what I wrote about. And this record, Shooter, was so great of kind of getting whose method of recording, the whole method of recording and lyric writing. I used Shooter's band, and one of my favorite musical experiences was recording this record with Shooter Jennings. Turning now to some Conspirators news. So Todd Kearns and Brent Fitz from the Conspirators gave an interview to Linnea Rock where they talked about the impact that the GNR reunion had on the Conspirators. And they were asked, did Slash's approach with this band change in some way after the Guns N' Roses reunion from your point of view? To which Todd said, no, not at all. There's never really been a whole lot of discussion as to what something should or should not sound like. I think in reality it's very organic and like we sound the way we sound. I will say that over the course of 3 records, there's definitely a sound to this band, and there's definitely a thing. Some of it is obviously Slash's guitar because it's such a recognizable thing, but the way we all kind of support that and the vocals with myself and Miles creates his own thing as well. I definitely think we kind of found our own sound by accident during the course of all the way from Apocalyptic Love, World on Fire, and Living the Dream. And Todd said, I think to add one thing that's different is that Slash was specific and saying we don't need to play as many Guns N' Roses songs. We have our own body of work on 3 albums, so that was a very conscious decision to say, hey, we can play a lot of music from this band in the last 9 years, and we're going to. So basically, we play every song we ever wrote in the band live. And Brent said, we've always played from Apocalyptic Love. We play all the songs from that record. And the next record, World on Fire, with 17 songs, we still managed to play every single one of those songs live as well. And the interviewer said, I saw the set list of the recent shows, and I know that you know that GNR and Slash's Snake Pit and Velvet Revolver songs disappeared pretty much, but there's one song that you sometimes play, which is Night Train. It's the only one in the set, and why that one? Is there any other classics you miss playing? To which they said, I really enjoy playing a lot of those songs. We were just talking about it today. We used to play songs from the second Snake Pit record, like very deep cuts as far as the fans were concerned. Now, the funny thing is, as Kiss fans, we also talk about how great it is to see the kids play deep cuts. That's because we're Kiss fans. We want to see Room Service or something like that. And for us, that's cool because we have the option to do so if we decide to play something that's a little more deeper that way. Now, if you guys have been watching YouTube for a long time like I have, then you know one of the most popular, and one of the things I never understood is why people watch reaction videos. I don't really get the appeal of it, but one thing that started to spread out now is vocal coaches reacting to different songs. And there's a guy named Ken Tamplin who's got about 600,000 followers. He did one to Paradise City, and what's cool about the vocal coach reacting videos is that they talk a bit about the singing style and how, you know, those singers, including Axl, hit some of those notes and ways they can kind of preserve their voice. And he did one for Paradise City. I wish he would have talked a bit more about the vocals. Rather, he's just mostly jamming out to the actual song, which I don't blame him for. But if you guys want to check it out, I've linked to it down below. Now, I want to give a shout out to Brando from Appetite for Distortion. Those guys have been having some awesome guests on, and one of their returning guests they had on recently was Brain, who used to play in Guns N' Roses from I think he was involved from 2000 all the way to 2006 when he left the band. And he was on there and he talked about wanting to challenge legendary Metallica co-founder Lars Ulrich to a tennis match. So he had this to say about Lars Ulrich. So Brain said, I would love to compete in tennis. Like I said, in my first tournament was last night. So I guess Brain has started to get into playing tennis. And he said, it was awesome. It was I want to do more. And the team I'm on has been doing really well. And they might go to districts. And from there, they might go to regionals and stuff like that. So I'd like to see how far I can take it. But like I said, my goal is I'm taking crazy lessons and doing it 5 days a week. And I would like to challenge Lars Ulrich to a match or something. That would be my ultimate goal. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Lars Ulrich's dad was a professional tennis player. And Lars was also a pretty good tennis player, too, before he took up the drums. So whether this would happen, we don't know. But we'll let you guys up on any updates that may come up.